at Manage Comics. Coming to you from a secret underground lair, these dedicated heroes discuss the business of comics, industry news, comic book retail issues, and the latest developments from Manage Comics. They are promoters of comics, champions of small business, and four-color heroes. They are the Manage Comics team.
Hey folks, welcome. It is Brian, and man, I am super gray. My background lights and everything aren't turning on like they should be. That's weird. So we've got a couple technical problems for some reason. As I was loading up here, my microphone cut out and then it came back. So I am hoping that everyone can hear me. Check in the comments if you can hear me, and I'm going to assume everything's good. Yeah, we got some exciting stuff to talk about today, and I think rather than wasting a lot of time, we'll get right into it. I've just got to find my other. Yeah, there it is. So we're going to start today. I should actually make sure that I've got this up here. People can hear me. Excellent. We got Revenge of and Megan here. So welcome, folks. Yeah, we're going to talk about Shopify's foundations. Now, this went live last week, and I've had a chance to play around with a bunch of stuff. Some things are still kind of in preview. So there's a lot of stuff that they've announced that isn't actually live yet, but they're usually pretty good about over the next month or so, we'll start to see things kind of pop up. So we're going to jump in right away at the beginning with their conversion stuff. So they talked a little bit about the search. They've got this new semantic search thing that looks like it's going to use AI to improve search results. And this is only going to be available for Shopify Plus, but we always see is that this stuff kind of trickles down to everyone else over time. This one might stay in Shopify Plus a little bit longer because it's going to require some computing power. But in the meantime, highly recommend that you install not Shopify subscriptions, Shopify Search and Discovery if you don't already have it. Search used to be built into Shopify, and then they've broken a lot of things out into apps. This is its own app, and there's a few reasons for that. They can discreetly change things in this without relaunching the entire Shopify. So what we often see is that when they're doing a ton of changes to a specific area, they'll kind of appify that area so that they can make those changes without it affecting the overall code base. And in the recent, last probably year and a half, since Shopify has kind of split like POS, which is in store, and offline or online as two separate channels. And they've done a really good job of kind of creating channels. So when we go into our Shopify store, you see all the different sales channels that you have available, right? And online is its own sales channel. So it's going to have some discrete apps that you may not need if you only have a brick and mortar store and you don't have an online channel, which was why some of this stuff makes sense. Like instead of creating one big, huge monolithic app that has everything and does everything, as a product hits maturity, which Shopify is starting to do, you start to build those into discrete little chunks that can be added or subtracted over time. So from a code-based perspective, this makes a ton of sense. And then from, just a overall bloat on your store, it makes a lot of sense too, that not every store is going to need some of these things. So make sure that you install Shopify Search and Discovery. It has a lot of really cool configuration things, and I'm going to do another one of these in the future where we just talk about some of the built-in Shopify tools. Search and Discovery is one of them, because every time that I build a Shopify store, we go in and reconfigure Search and Discovery, because there's so much extra stuff that you can do with this now, and it keeps on changing. So like filters, This used to just be called brand, but now we can change it to be, instead of brand, we can change it to be publishers. You can even now group people things. So, like, let's say that we had multiple different ways that you could see Marvel comics. You could group the three different Marvel comics together, or even if you wanted to have like Opus and Panini and PS Art Books, if you wanted to have all these guys as other publishers, you can do that now. So you can do this and create a group and call it other. And so now, if we go down to other, we're going to see that it's got Opus Comics, other publishers, Panini Publishing, PS Art Books. So we'll do some like real deep dive into this stuff because it's super cool, and I think we can kind of go deep with Shopify's search and discovery. Yeah, and like I said, this is available in the App Store. It's free. Make sure you've downloaded search and discovery. Moving on to subscriptions, Shopify has its own built-in subscription app now. It's free, it's available to everyone. It's not perfect because it's very kind of rudimentary and it's specifically for certain use cases. So the way that you would use this is auto billing subscriptions that can renew weekly, monthly, or yearly with discounts or without discounts. So you could do like a graphic novel of the month club, board game of the month club, supply drop of the month club, whatever it is, but it's going to be the of the X period. The reason this won't work perfectly with like your actual comic subscriptions is because this month there's 3 Batman issues. So you couldn't really do a subscription to Batman when you're shipping them like 3 times a month instead of once a month. And I believe that the charges have to be like they're you're not going to change them every month. So it's something where you're going to charge $10 a month and the person approves that, and et cetera, et cetera. But you can see that this is the beginning with auto build subscription. This is the beginning of vaulted credit cards and being able to do a lot more stuff with credit cards in the future. They talked a lot about channels. One of the new things that they've released in the last 6 months is the POS Go terminal. This terminal is really cool. We may have something really interesting to announce at Comics Pro this year. It is an all-in-one tool. It would be great for conventions, for example, because this tool is it's about the size of a phone, but it's got a credit card reader built into it. It's got your whole POS kind of interface there, and it also has like Wi-Fi connectivity built into it, tap, chip, swipe payments. It also has a scanner built into it for doing barcodes and UPC codes. The one problem that I'm still working around with the devs on, and I mean Shopify's devs, is it currently doesn't support book scan, but we're going to see if we can tweak it to make it support our, UPC +5 and also the ISBNs, full featured ISBNs. There's a ton of different really cool things. There's a smart grid editor in the admin so that you can edit your grids a lot easier. If you have multiple locations, you can now manage UI extensions across locations in the admin. And this one's cool. Your receipts can be updated in within Liquid. So that means that the templates in your site will actually update your logos. And so once I have a chance to really play with this part, I'll do a tutorial on how to do this as well. And this is super cool. Instead of having to have a separate computer to do fulfillment, you can actually do simple fulfillment from your retail locations right through the POS now. So you can actually go into orders and take orders that are ready for shipping and, prepare it for shipping and ship it out. There's also a bunch of changes to returns and capturing reasons for returns. And there's some stuff with exchanges that I haven't really had a chance to dig deep into, but they've done a lot of work with exchange. And I think it's in like operations, but they talk a lot about taxes and refunding taxes and stuff like that as well. So that's cool. A lot of this is B2B, so we're just going to ignore it. I always like to look at these B2B things because interesting things come out of the B2B stuff in the future. One thing, which is not just B2B, but everything, is Shopify Marketplace Connect. So if you don't already have Shopify Marketplace Connect and you are selling in multiple markets, this is an amazing app. They introduced it the last time that we did one of these editions. It's live. It's got amazing ratings, like 5 stars. This guy is having some problems, but a lot of the reviews are 5 stars. People really like it. It's free. Um, it also has 1% fee per additional synced order, capped at $99 per month. So if you're doing a lot of online selling, this is an amazing tool. You can change the price for every other marketplace. So like eBay has, their 10% fees. You can mark everything up by 10% that's on eBay. If it's Amazon, maybe you mark it up, 5 or 6% to cover any fees, but all that stuff is built into it and it's really, really easy to use. So give that a quick look. Marketing is up next. So they talked a lot about marketing, a lot about retargeting and things. We're probably going to do a dedicated marketing thing because there's so much stuff in this marketing. And I don't know if it's appropriate for everyone. One thing that I want to kind of dive deep into is Shop and the whole Shop app. I think a lot of people are using it and not really understanding fully what they're doing with it. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do to leverage the Shop app, and that may make a lot of sense for you. But I think right now it's just kind of everyone's in it without knowing they're in it, and because it gets now turned on by default. So it's something you got to kind of pay a little bit of attention to, and yeah, you can now display your reviews and things like that. 1 second here. Customer cohorts. We're gonna have to get Craig to explain what a cohort is for me. um, this operation stuff was really interesting. So they're doing a lot of stuff with AI, but I don't know if all of it is incredibly useful, honestly. I mean, they're still working on this sidekick thing that I think is going to be super cool when it eventually gets released, but it's still in like beta. Just 1 second. Choking for some reason. Yeah, so the sidekick is still in beta, and I think it's going to be cool when it comes out because there's things like you could say in plain English, you could say, update my new releases collection to use this tag. And then it would just change your new releases collection to use a different tag instead of going through and doing all the stuff, remembering where you go to update your collection. I think it's just going to make a lot of things simpler. Instead of having to find stuff, you just would ask Sidekick to do it for you. Boring. There's some really good stuff in this whole. Oh, here it was. Shopify Tax. So you can simplify your tax filing with the US sales tax report. I know they're doing a lot more stuff with the Shopify Tax platform, which simplifies taxes in the United States because y'all's taxes are crazy. In Canada, we have 9 tax rates. In the United States, I know you guys have, I think it's 1,800. I think it may be more because you've got municipal taxes. Yeah, it's crazy. So this will help you with your tax stuff in the United States, and they're also doing recommendations for France, Germany, and the UK. So Flow is another tool that we need to do a full deep dive into. Flow is basically an automations tool that will let you kind of do an if then run this. So I don't really know how to explain it without showing it, and I'm not really ready to do a deep show. But I guess here's a good example. When a customer's birthday is today, you could run a code to determine loyalty and then send out an email or something like that, based on specific automations that you define. Um, Exchanges. So this is where we get into. So they've improved the post-purchase experience by adding native returns to Shopify. Apparently, on the at the register, return used to take quite a bit of time. Now it's like within 15 minutes you can do a return. So I don't know how often that happens, but there's something cool. And then this is something I'm super excited about, and that I can't believe has taken this long. Reusable theme blocks. So an example of this is I will often create on a website an address block, and that address block has the store hours, the address, and maybe the map image, right? And every time that you want to use that, you have to build a new version of that. And that means you have to update your hours in like 17 different places. With this, you'll have reusable blocks where you could say, my hours are this, and every time I want to update my hours, I just do it on one place and it'll do it everywhere. Um, Things like WordPress have that built in. So now that we've got this, it's very exciting. The other thing is you can nest blocks, which means that you could have, like, let's say you have an image and you want to put text next to it. You can actually nest those things together so that you can have an image next to a text block. So they're making, the front end a lot more flexible. And there's a lot of tools they've built for us on the back end, including way faster API calls. So I've noticed things are kind of speeding up a little bit. I'm going to take a quick 30 seconds and I'll get right back to you.
The Manage Comics Order Helper makes point-of-sale checkout a breeze. You can get to the app in one tap once you've added the app title to your point of sale. From there, you'll find any Manage Comics orders through our browse or search options. Clicking on the customer order will let you select the items you want to bring into the POS cart. The cart is created with all items and their individual discounts exactly as they appear in Manage Comics. You can check out some or all of the items. Any items removed from the cart will go back into the Manage Comics order. We think it's all super easy to use, but if you have any issues, you can always visit our support knowledge base or ask us a question and we'll get back to you quickly. Manage Comics Order Helper makes subscription checkouts accurate, quick, and easy.
Hey, I'm back. I was choking for some reason. I don't even know why. But now that we're back, that's going to kind of do it for winter editions. There's a ton of really cool stuff that they've launched. I think I went over the big things that are important to shops. But yeah, that should do it for that. But while I've got you here, let's talk about some cool stuff that Managed Comics has done recently. Oh no, I stopped sharing my screen. All right, here we go. We're going to start out with, first of all, we'll just go to help. And from help, you can click on changelog. And you'll see a couple of new things. We announced our major project number 1 international distribution launched. So we now have Diamond UK and Universal Distribution. And the second big one that we announced was a bunch of little changes. And I'm going to walk through a few of those right now. In initial orders and soon coming to FOCs, you'll now see that your order numbers are linkable. And when you click on these guys, you'll see your subscribers and you can sort them by last name. It shows whether or not something is a subscription or a pre-order. And if it's a pre-order, it will show up with pre-order information. So that's on a per issue basis. So if there was more people subscribed to Batman and Robin #7, because you have a bunch of pre-orders, you'll see that there. And you can see Brian Garza, it's got 2 orders for this cover. So that's one thing. Another thing that we've added is the ability to search within customer activity. So if I go to approved and accepted pre-orders, I'm going to go Batman, and I can find all of the examples of the word Batman. I can also look for, just Brian Garside. So what does Brian have for approved or accepted pre-orders? There's all the things that he's got. And that is throughout time. The other one is within pre-orders, we have the ability to search. So this one's tough. You have to actually, so I can search by a customer name, or if I go to title, I can go search by a title. Absolute Watchman hardcover is for Andor. I'm hoping to kind of streamline this a little bit, because I'd like this to be one field, but just to get it done quickly, this was the easiest way. So that's searching within pre-orders. And then this is a special preview. This is not completely done. I've already found a couple of little bugs, but we now have a report, which is in, this is in reporting age subscriptions. And this will show us who has, within the last 7 days, 8 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and over 90 days. It shows what their total is. And there's going to be an email those individual people. So I'll be able to bump and email those folks. That's being worked on right now. This won't get released until everything's all done. But in the meantime, I could invoice Fred Myers and Ivan Wine and Owen Mercer their orders, and those will go out shortly. There's a couple little bugs here. I don't see that, Anakin Skywalker has a bunch of orders. What are they? Are they over 90 or what? We'll get all that stuff fixed. But it's hopefully a very useful tool for you to find laggards. And in a future, meanwhile, I'm actually going to go over customer orders and how to make sure that you're clearing out your customer orders properly, because we see some stores have like literally tens of thousands of orders. So we'll hopefully start to clean these things out and make it more useful for you. I think that's about it. We're going to take a look at what people have to say in the comments right now. Let's pull up some folks. So yeah, we have Revenge of and Megan are here. Megan says, for us, the swipe card dock was one of the better updates. We've noticed an uptick of preloaded gift cards that we swipe only in our store. Awesome. That's very cool. Great news. Revenge of says, we've been trying to optimize Shop and it seems pretty cool. Yeah, the Shop app is very, very cool. Got a few customers who use it exclusively. That's awesome. I use actually the Shop login now because it's just easier than remembering 20 different stores' email addresses. And Christina Strong says, howdy. Well, thanks for joining us today, folks. I'd like to try and keep these things a tight 30. Next time, we are going to talk about Comet. It's going to be our pre-Comics Pro Spectacular. I'll be at Comics Pro February 21st through, I want to say 24th or 25th. I'll be there actually the Sunday as well. So if anybody's going to be at Comics Pro, make sure you look me up. Next time, we're going to talk about a special promotion that we're having. We'll talk marketing, and we're going to tell you about our next big project. Christina Strong, by the way, says, when using the order helper, custom prices are not transferring to the point of sale. When using the Managed Comics order helper, that's a ticket submit a ticket and we'll take a look at that. I can't speak to that right now. I have no idea why that would be. We haven't changed the order helper since we launched it, basically. So that's weird. Currently, we don't use Flow, Search and Discover, or Deal with our shop at all. Which of those would you focus on in what order? That's a great question. I would say Search and Discover number one. Probably Shop number two if you're interested in selling to kind of more customers outside of your own. And then Flow is, I think we'll do a whole thing on Flow because there's a lot of automation stuff that you can do with Flow. It's not essential, but it will make stuff a little bit easier for you in the future. Revenge of says, I like Flow to hit up customers who have made purchase recently. Yeah, so you can do it with Flow, or you can do that with like an email automation sequence. So we can definitely look at both of those things. Looking forward into exploring Search and Discover. Yeah, I'll do a full meanwhile on Search and Discover because I think we can talk a lot about how cool that is and what it can do. Like I showed, like it's super powerful, and they've just made it more powerful recently. So yeah, that's something we can look at. Thanks for joining us, folks. First one of the new year, and this is officially season 2, episode 1. And yeah, in the meantime and in between times, hey, by the way, before I go, we have a new podcast called Data Bros. It comes out every Friday. It's me, Django Bourne, and Jeff Figley, and we're talking about comics and comic data and running a comic shop. They have a comic shop in Bellingham, Washington, so we talk about that. It's got a little bit more of a focus on data, so if that's something you're interested in, you'll definitely hear more of that there. And check it out, and we'll talk about it there. Revenge of says, Marketplace Connect is awesome for listing incentives. We have an upsell currently live that incentivizes purchases, including incentive to purchase a top loader for shipping at a 10% discount. Very cool. And I think we can look at a bunch of that stuff in the future as well. So, all right, that's going to do it for this week. And like I said, we will catch you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care.